Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Elisabeth Mack, and I'm the founder of Holistic Caring and the CEO of Holistic Caring and the Green Nurse. And we are going to talk today about cannabis nursing and the potential opportunities that nurses have. This presentation was originally presented at the Society of Cannabis Clinicians a week ago as we began our partnership, working with them to extend the nursing curriculum that we have created, and we are excited to launch this to the entire world. And I'm going to use this presentation to talk through these slides and entertain and inspire you with what we think is coming and how you can participate. I will soon be joined by Sherry Mack, who is the founder of the Green Nurse and the Chief Nursing Officer here at Holistic Caring and the Green Nurse, to be talking about what we do and how you can dial this in. But first, let me talk about cannabis nursing being recognized as a specialty nursing practice by the American Nurses Association. This happened at the end of September this year. And what that means is that soon nurses are going to be able to have a board certification once that exam is created in another year or so by collaborating entities within nursing and nursing organizations, both in cannabis and healthcare with the ANA. So we have yet to see how this is going to unfold into conventional care and that sort of thing. But right now, what we're looking at is how to practicalize what we do have and how you might be able to get involved. I have been involved with cannabis since January of 2015, and I was introduced to cannabis when I went to my chiropractor's office, and I had recently had shoulder surgery, and she was adjusting me and said, well, why don't you have my medical massage therapist work out that shoulder and see how you do? So I went to see her, and she was using CBD and cannabis in the oil. And I smelled it and I said, what is this? It smells funny. And she said, it's cannabis. And I said, well, why are you putting cannabis on me? And she said, well, it's anti-inflammatory. It's going to reduce your pain, help you get through physical therapy, and get back to that pre-surgical arm faster. And I said, oh, wow, sign me up and tell me more. And as I went home from that, I went to the library, checked out all the books I could on cannabis and cannabis as medicine. And then I found PubMed and I started to read all of that. And then I found other people and I started to work with this woman and her fiance who had a Prop 215 dispensary back in San Diego back in that day, January 15. Started interning with them. They also had a medical recommendation physician that was coming down and certifying people to be able to use cannabis. So I got certified and started to explore and really focused on CBD, taking flash-dried CBD capsules that I was able to get in about 200 milligrams per capsule. And I started to heal very quickly and very thoroughly. And I said, wow, this is amazing. I didn't realize that not only could I rebuild my shoulder, but I could start to heal from other things that I had wrong, high blood pressure and GERD and digestive issues and insomnia and anxiety and depression. And all of those, one by one, I was able to eliminate pharmaceuticals over a period of a year or so. And I said, if I can do this for myself, I've got to share this. I have to help others. I was so grateful to be able to heal. And so in, let's see, January of 2016, 1 year later, I was at a national conference called Women Grow in Denver. And I said, people are making medicines, people are selling medicines, but nobody's truly interpreting how to use cannabis as a medicine for patients. And I needed somebody to help me. And I said, that's what I'm going to do. And so I was then opening Holistic Caring as a concierge cannabis practice, working with patients in San Diego as the industry was growing. People needed to have the instruction manuals for how to use these products. And I hung up my shingle, and that's what I did, leaving healthcare. I've been an RN, BSN, BA, MBA. 1987, I finished my undergrad. In 1996, I finished my MBA in healthcare administration. The first 9 years I spent in hospitals, working in medical and diabetic units, as well as locked psychiatry for about 8 years. And I knew I was meant for business instead of medicine, and now I get to combine them. But I spent 19 years as operations and sales management at many major insurance carriers. My last role was the sales manager for Anthem Blue Cross for the County of San Diego, selling employee benefits and working in the broker channels to extend health options to patients, employers, employees, etc. But when I found cannabis, I knew I wanted to do something else. I knew I could make a difference. And I said, I'm going to be a cannabis nurse. I never let my nursing license go, always continued the CE. And so I was able to get right back into business. So I also created a Prop 215 collective called Balance RX, where I could offer products to patients. And then I trained nurses because I had nurses coming to me that needed training, and I was growing my practice. So I wrote a training manual. That training manual became my book, Cannabis for Health, Become a Coach. And then that book was the underpinnings for all of the programs that I have then created. And you'll see the Cannabis Nurse Program when we get to the network. And I taught this live for about a year or two in San Diego, doing small private workshops with 10 to 20 nurses, educating them with another physician that I was partnering with. And I loved it. But then COVID happened, and COVID brought a standstill to life, but it also brought opportunities. And very quickly, I was able to put everything online. I found a master's prepared educational teacher who was good at instructional design and built the programs to have all of the knowledge, the slides, the commentary, all of the links and the research, and then all of the quizzes and practical applications, homework assignments, and really dialing in. And so I love teaching, and that's what we've built. Built a global clinic, merged with the Green Nurse to really extend media into the practice and to build in more mentoring for the nurses. And we'll get to that soon. Holistic Caring Cannabis Nurse Health Coach was relaunched at October 1st, 2023, as we had more than doubled the continuing education unit content, and now we are launching that to the world. So anyway, so this is a game-changing option for many people. And just like me, there are millions and millions of people out there that would prefer to have natural health options as opposed to the pills and the procedures that we know that people are used to that don't really work. It's futile care. We're spending $4.5 trillion in healthcare in this country and not really improving health, right? So basically, what the problem now is that the American Cannabis Nursing Association, a collaborative effort of numerous nurses for nearly a decade, submitted the scope and standards of practice for cannabis nursing to the ANA, who approved it. So now we're sitting here saying, okay, now what do we do? Well, we can create new opportunities in traditional healthcare right away for nurses that might want to be that specialist who are trained in the endocannabinoid system and cannabis therapeutics, right? So they can be the specialist in the hospital, like a Coumadin nurse, like the diabetes educator nurse, and that sort of thing, right? And they'll help other clinicians and then the patients that are using cannabis therapeutics and coming into the hospital saying, I don't want to take the opiates, I want to take the cannabis products. And they can be the interpreters to everybody else for how this works, because we are hardwired for this plant. We have an endocannabinoid system, not just for the products, but because it is being nurtured all the time by our endogenous systems that are bringing us back to homeostasis and balance. And it's going to be most applicable to chronic disease. And we know that most of our healthcare costs are chronic in nature. And that's what we want to do, is to help people have options so that they can maybe wean away from some of the pharmaceuticals, just like I told you I did, and especially the opioids and people that are taking pills that are much more harmful than the plant molecules and products that we can introduce. And just CBD, it's anti-inflammatory. It'll lessen pain. It'll help promote mobility, keep people moving and walking. And we know that that's key to maintaining health. CBD can also be very anti-anxiety, stimulating serotonin and bringing us back to more feelings of at ease and happy and less depressed. CBD works to balance neurology and immunology and our nerve and our immune systems, helping with autism, epilepsy, autoimmune conditions. Some of the pills that are treating autoimmune conditions that are maybe dangerous, we might want to introduce cannabinoids as a different option that we could at least try and give people something that might be more natural. Of course, THC is a game changer for reducing pain, spasms, nausea, promoting appetite, and it may have very good anti-cancer properties that the NIH is finally exploring, right? And of course, THC helps us with our mental and emotional status, increasing coping and resilience and giving us more peaceful presence so that we can have a better day, right? And all of this can be interpreted into conventional healthcare, and that can be the regular nurses that are working in this. And then on the cannabis side, right, we can create new opportunities in the cannabis industry for nurses who cross-train and learn the endocannabinoid system to work in many facets of the supply chain in patient care and education, right? So think about one day when the MSOs are going to have nurses and you're going to help with the formulations, creating targeted symptom relief for patients in the clinical corner, and then really making sure that GMP and standardization is happening, where we have good manufacturing practices and we can continue to allow this to be part of conventional healthcare, and everybody will recognize it because it matches on parity with everything else that is prescribed. So healthcare is evolving, and so is cannabis nursing, right? From where I came almost a decade ago to where we're getting, we have a lot to do. And as we talk about evolution, I like to talk about the evolution of the healthcare system, right? So philosophically, where were we 100, 150 years ago, and where are we at now, right? So at Health 1.0, we were managing pandemics, early surgeries, pain control, building hospitals, public health systems, getting early research happening. And we were, having a paternalistic focus. Doctors are the ultimate source of knowledge and care and never questioned, right? And we operated like that for 100 or so years, right? Until we got into around the late 1900s, 1970s, 80s, 90s with the advent of managed care. And now we're managing systems, right? So technology, imaging, electronic health records, centralized control, tertiary and academic health centers in the big metro areas, that ruled the day. The focus was administrative, managed care, HMO models. The loss of personal touch was in favor of improved efficiencies and cost savings, and everything became about doing more with less. And how do we get patients to, fit into this system? And they did feel a little lost. And then Health 3.0, this is where we're at today and what we're building towards, right? We're managing automation. Everything is extended now. Everybody's almost on their own, but now we have to manage that automation, information, fast communication between the patient, the provider, and their teams. The focus is now on a community, right? Community-led care, and it's patient-centered, finally. I've been talking about patient-centered care for 40 years, and today we're approaching it, where things are really built along that patient focus and what do they need to be healthy and whole in the systems that we have now. A lot of this care is going to be AI-guided with artificial intelligence and protocols that are figured out from machines, but with human intelligence to put it together in the first place. The focus is also going to be much more preventative and holistic in the focus, with mind-body approaches in favor of improved outcomes and transformed lives. And that's not a minute too soon, because if you look at nurses, we know that a third of all nurses, according to the McKinsey report I read last year, are considering leaving their current jobs. Their workloads are unmanageable. They don't feel well compensated or cared for or even safe. And so today nurses are looking for something else to do. And of course, our health stats, we are spending more than any other developed country on earth, yet we're still placing near last in outcomes on infant mortality, managing chronic disease, and life expectancy. So can cannabis help? Cannabis can help, and it can be part of the solution, but we're not quite there yet. So cannabis 1.0, I go back to 1937. We had all of these options. Everybody had legal cannabis. Prescriptions were written by physicians, administered through the pharmacy. Cannabis extracts were treating all kinds of diseases, amenorrhea or dysmenorrhea, migraines, pain, nausea, other things that they saw that this was good for, epilepsy. There was a lot going on already even back then. But then in 1937, it was taxed out of existence with the forces that were at that time. And we lost it. And then 1970, Richard Nixon put cannabis into the Controlled Substance Act on a Schedule 1, slating it right there with heroin, LSD, PCP, and saying that it had no medical benefits at all, that it was highly addictive, abusive, and dangerous. And that's where cannabis still lies today at the federal level, which is really what the problem is, right? We have all these state systems that were ushered in 1996. I remember voting in California here for Prop 215. And what that did was open up cannabis through a medical recommendation, right? You could see a physician, get a recommendation, go to the dispensary and check out, and it was all legal. And so that is kind of still what we have in the 38 medical states. But the medically focused care remains with the innovators, right? We were talking about the AIDS epidemic that was happening in 1996. That's how we brought it back, because these medicines were much more effective and therapeutic for people that were suffering with nausea and wasting syndrome and not able to eat and so much pain and anxiety and sleep and existential angst. Cannabinoids really helped save them so much. And then in 2013, 14, 15, we saw the CBD craze inspired by Charlotte Figge, who was having 300 seizures a month and now down to near nothing with the CBD oils. And what is so special about this? And that was the evolution of the CBD industry. But we're still stuck with the innovators because of federal illegality. So in Cannabis 2.0, now we have all of these state systems, 38, with a patchwork of laws, very irregular and business systems that don't make any sense. The lack of federal cooperation or cohesion forces erratic growth and failure. We know that a lot of these companies started, but a lot of them are not making it because the FDA is in the way. So what do? We pivot. Adult use happened, right? Adult use is normalizing the recreational aspects and basically spreading now to 24 states. We have adult use programs. And that is now slated with the corporate takeover of cannabis and the multi-state operators. So we now need social equities so that we can repair the harms from the drug war and make sure that all people who want to work in this industry have a place. And then also to focus on consumption lounges and normalizing cannabis instead of alcohol and giving people a different social experience. And then, of course, Ryan's Law, where we can introduce cannabinoids into healthcare. And what that looks like, where a patient in a hospital that is palliative or terminally ill can stay on their cannabinoids and not have to go back to those medicines, the non-smokable, like an extract or a tincture or a topical. So Cannabis 3.0, which I believe is coming very soon, is where we will have federal legality. Next year, 2024 is an election year, and I am hopeful that there will be some changes in the markets and that the federal government will either reschedule to a Schedule 3 or deschedule cannabis completely, taking it out of the Controlled Substance Act. And either way, we're okay to move forward in the industry. But if it's a Schedule 3, we're going to need a lot of clinically trained nurses that are able to go into healthcare, train the doctors on how and why this works as a therapeutic medicine. And then we will work towards building this medical door, right? So once we have the descheduling and the national access, we can have access through both healthcare and cannabis, right? The medical door can be either way. But when I talk about the medical door, I'm talking about the medical door in a dispensary where there's an adult use door and a medical door where clinical care and wellness can be delivered for patients that really do want to replace pharmaceuticals and heal from their conditions and not just have fun. So this is going to require community total healthcare guided by health and cannabis partnerships that address the clinical and the wellness needs of our communities. So there's a juncture of health 3.0 and cannabis 3.0. In my mind and my vision, this is what we're doing and why we need to build the medical door together. Nurses in my dream world here will be recognized as top-line employees in dispensaries and product firms as the focus shifts back to on-site clinical care and wellness programs. Dispensaries will build one-on-one and small group coaching rooms for patients to have education, and the product mix will shift back to high-quality tested medicinal formulations. Disease management and patient advocacy groups can connect with the multi-state operators so that all of the big shops are going to have people working with them to make sure that these medicines are used appropriately. And health plans will staff cannabis nurses as care managers. So if somebody has oncology issues or pain management or autoimmune conditions, you can have a cannabis trained nurse that is going to be also conventionally trained and really bridging that gap between conventional and cannabis therapeutics. And of course, the insurance and the work comp systems will start funding CBD. Our HSA funds might be able to be used for CBD and cannabis products. There are people building cashless payment systems and digital tools for online ordering and tracking and dialing in the efficacy. Traditional healthcare will intersect with data sharing with cannabis electronic health records for outcomes tracking, and then pharmaceutical reductions as well as cost savings. And medical and nursing schools will start teaching the endocannabinoid system as a first-line therapy. And now that cannabis nursing is deemed a specialty with the ANA, eventually nursing students will start to see endocannabinoid system care questions on the NCLEX exam, and we have to prepare them. So current cannabis job opportunities, right? We know healthcare, cannabis job opportunities are mainly in cultivation, manufacturing, retail, distribution, testing, infrastructure, management, HR, and some medical professionals. The East Coast is doing this really well in states like Pennsylvania and Maryland. They have pharmacists or nurses trained and are interfacing with the industry. So California is leading the way. Colorado, Michigan, a very strong state, number one in jobs right now, in new growth. But jobs are about 418,000, nearly 420. And we've had a contraction from the year before when things were going really well. You see, this was COVID, right? COVID, everybody really staffed up. But because of federal stalling, a lot of the buildup was premature, and there has been a contraction in the industry. So cannabis nursing opportunities of the future are going to be focused around this fastest growing industry in America, but jobs are varied. So nurses are going to need to plan a non-linear path of multiple exposure points. And what I mean by that is, you might take a job as a bud tender, but you're getting your foot in the door. And so maybe you make $20 an hour or so, but you network into different positions. So very soon you can move up in the dispensary you're working at. You can get access to other people. You'll find partners that want to do things, but you will be that game changer in cannabis therapeutics wherever you go, because nurses are cross-trained with deep talent and flexibility. We can do anything, right? Whether it's education, actual patient care, we can do that. So we can add the credibility to cannabis as well, right? People are like, I don't want to smoke anything. I don't want to get high. I don't want to get addicted. They've got all the stigma, and nurses need to add education and credibility so we can remove that stigma and get people to understand that this is clinical and wellness, and we can guide them to accomplish their health goals in a very safe and therapeutic way. We can encourage proper dosing and microdosing as opposed to overconsumption and people getting into trouble. I don't want to hear either CBD didn't work for me, or I tried that and I freaked out and I'm never going to touch it again. If a nurse was in the middle, we would have had a better experience with that patient, because we can enhance retention, optimization, and that is going to really change the health of our communities. And of course, we want to advocate for tax relief to make these products more affordable and accessible so that they're not so darn expensive. Adult use taxes don't belong on medical products. So we'll have to advocate for a subset of these products. Tinctures should not be taxed as much as pre-rolls. And that's the system that we're advocating for. And then just being the trusted professionals and the compassion we will always have an invitation to be that smartest person in the world and in the room, and working as a team with the bud tenders and the product manufacturers and the formulators and that sort of thing. So taking this into what you can do, one-on-one cannabis nurse coaching, and you can be independent, handing out your own shingle or working at a dispensary. You can be doing community education, small group workshops in the library and the senior centers and that sort of thing. Educators to healthcare systems and hospitals and health plans, all of them are going to need training. Clinical trial staff and researchers, and then policy development. But there's a lot in the Center for Medical Cannabis Research. There's now a couple of them in America. Nurses can become formulators and work in product development and lab testing and doing all kinds of things like that, because that's a lot of fun. And then, of course, retail sales, distribution, marketing, and community outreach. We need to be that person that is going to be in the dispensary, because this is what's happening, right? Clinical expertise is needed. 10% of older Americans have consumed cannabis products in the past year, and a third of them are using cannabis products almost every day, more than 4 days per week. And if cannabinoids are becoming part of healthcare, and seniors are the fastest growing demographic, why are they using it? Pain, anxiety, sleep, those are the big ones. And CBD is body, mind, spirit, health, and wholeness, as opposed to the artificially forced interactions that we have with pharmaceuticals, right? This is much more natural, and people feel better as they're taking this. So this is why nurses are needed, because we have to keep people safe. So what we have provided here at Holistic Caring and the Green Nurse is our Cannabis Nurse Health Coach Program. This is going to open the medical door in America for nurses, and we start with a comprehensive 30-unit curriculum for nurses and other clinicians in our private network. So a community built like social media, but it's off social media in a very private way. And nurses are the ones that get the continuing education units, but all clinicians are welcomed. There's a licensing program with this, because we know what nurses need, and they need this business in a box where we give them everything they need to be a holistic caring cannabis health coach nurse. And what this means is, I'll show you when we get in the toolkit, but literally everything that you could possibly need to start your practice. Then we reinforce it with a monthly mastermind and nurse mentoring, so that we can get you up to speed on clinical development and business development to accomplish your goals in what you want to do as a cannabis nurse. We have monthly clinical conversations, and we break down case studies in our masterminds as well to reinforce these concepts and practical applications. So research, theory, what's going on, what's some of our experience, and what's the starting protocols. As we do get from there, we also talk about CBD and product development training, because we know what patients are responding to and how this works, so we can help people understand CBD, because that's always the starting point. CBD, CBG, CBN, and formulations that don't compromise people, but do give them the medical healing that they need. And then we help you with networking into industry opportunities, and there are cannabis events. A lot of times we'll go to a big conference and we'll have a nurse meetup as part of that. And then cannabis nursing conferences at ACNA or Cannabis Nurses Network, Society for Cannabis Clinicians. We'll have little side meetups for our cannabis nurse coaches. And this is rewarding and meaningful work. This is the opposite of why nurses are fleeing from conventional care. They're looking for these kinds of opportunities to really work in patient-centered total health care, or THC care. So this is the image from our program. You can hit the enroll now or apply for a scholarship. So let's take a tour and go from here right into this page. So this is the homepage, holisticcaring.com, and this is the Cannabis Nurse Health Coach Certificate Program page. You too can change the future of healthcare with us. So the Enroll Now button, scholarship application, we are drawing a scholarship on Christmas Day for one lucky recipient. We've got several applications in, and I can't wait to see who wins. It's going to be a randomized drawing. On this page, you can see the ANA press release, you can see the NCSBN press release, and also download the book. This is a PDF of the 2018 publication that they published as a supplement to the Journal of Nursing Practice, and it breaks down the 6 essential areas of knowledge that all nurses must have to work within this field. And then this is the American Cannabis Nurses Association. We applaud their leadership and efforts in getting this to this finish line and starting point as well. So this program and the content will help you prepare for a future cannabis nursing board certification. So we are not doing anything with the exam, but our programs will teach you the fundamental basics that you're going to need to feel confident when there is an exam developed. This program is open to all, but the CEUs, the 30 CEUs, are only available to nurses. There's no additional fees for the licensing, education, the materials, the marketing materials, etc. Scholarships are available. Discounts are available through the Society of Cannabis Clinicians. And then you can begin anytime. You don't need to wait for a new cohort. You can start today and then work from home. Who doesn't want to work in remote work? You can equip yourself for rewarding work in CBD and cannabis medicine. Get your 30 CEUs for completing the program. We've got 38 legal states and 24 adult use states. So 75% of our population in America has safe legal access to medical cannabis products. And 50 million people have used cannabis just in the past year, but they're not all successful in their goals. They need a nurse. And that's what we're doing here. It's not just about the science and the nursing practice, but how do we do this as a business? And what do you need to be cognizant of as you hang out your own shingle? You need a quick start guide to starting your business. You need some of the fundamentals on how to advertise yourself. You need to be able to participate in a lot of other business development, and all of that happens mainly through the mastermind, but we also work one-on-one with our coaches as well. Everything is in the private network. Just click here and you can go into the network and take a tour. We'll come back to that in a second. And then all of the clinical training. This is the curriculum as far as how it looks. It's designed to be about a 4-week self-study curriculum and program where we have 3 main modules and then the toolkit. You spend about a week on each. All the research citations are there so you can explore the research in every unit, and it has a holistic focus. As I started to heal myself, I also joined the Academy of Integrative Health and Medicine, started attending their conferences and workshops and learning integrative medicine and applying that into cannabinoid care, because that is how we truly heal people, emphasizing cannabinoids as facilitators to rest, movement, nutrition, and connection. And if we can get people to use those 4 pillars of health properly, we can heal them and give them changing the paradigm of healthcare with cannabinoids and functional medicines. So all of the lectures are recorded. There's quizzes, PDFs, and all play live in an app. You can open this on your phone, on your iPad, on your laptop, etc., and you can just go to school wherever you are. You know, the units, three modules, and I'll show you a second, the monthly mastermind. There is some licensing FAQs here. You know, what is licensing? Well, licensing allows us to give you the business in a box, because most nurses need all of the stuff that we provide to get you started. So licensing is similar to franchising. So you're buying into a franchise so that this is going to be your business. And you can earn revenues by utilizing the intellectual property and the systems of us, Holistic Caring. The difference between a professional license and a business license, the professional license grants the licensee the ability to practice a specific profession after satisfying academic requirements and passing a state-regulated exam. A business license grants the licensee the ability to practice their craft using the intellectual property and business system developed by another person or entity, and this is us, right? So we give you everything you need. You get access for a full year, and then at the end of the year, you can renew. There's a $300 renewal to stay in, full access to all of the programs, your program, any of the continuing education updates that we make, the masterminds you can stay in and get all of our continuous mentoring for you to be your best self as we grow. So with that, let's take a look at the network, and we will go in here and take a look at the Cannabis Nurse Health Coach Program. This is a private network. Well, before I go into here, let me just go to the home. This is our feed, and you can see all of the things that we have. We got the scholarship giveaway. We have Nectar Bowl. I was actually featured in a documentary, and they're showing it for free. So you can come into the network and you can click on this link and see this free movie. I post a lot of interesting articles about what's happening here in cannabis medicine. We have different things that are going on. Today, we covered the clinical conversations and the differences between alcohol and cannabis for celebrating the holidays, etc. Oh, and we were nominated for 8 Cannabis Nursing Network awards for all kinds of good things, and you can check that out as well. And then when we're looking at some of the other programs and services, you know, I put different articles in here that people can read, and all of this is free in the main section, right? So you can just explore this free network, join, chat with other members, etc. All of our events are right here on the events tab. We have our next Cannabis Health Coach program, our mastermind, will be on January 8th. Usually it's the first Monday of every month, but New Year's Day takes that this month. And we have a monthly support group for psychedelics and plant medicines, talking about exploring and being together and staying safe, etc. These are all of our educational programs. We have an introduction to cannabis program. This is a free program that anybody can take. Just click on here and you can go through all the slides. And then these are the professional programs, and then these are all of our patient programs where you can get targeted learning for specifics. And all of these are available for purchase at holisticcaring.com. Here is the Cannabis Nurse Health Coach Mastermind. We have video training that is all banked, so we can provide access to this, and then all kinds of other affiliate trainings, as well as our Green Nurse podcast, our clinical conversations. Everything is posted here in the network as well. And in our feed, we have lots of different things. Nurse Sherry put a Bloom butter, which is really interesting, on how to use CBD, CBG, and CBN isolates and to make cookies of your choice. So that is the network and the mastermind. If we just take a quick look at the Cannabis Nurse Health Coach program, this is our big program, right? So this is the overview and the basics. If we look at the fundamentals here, we can go into the history of cannabis and how this has been something we've been using for years and years. And this is just a little bit of, you know, the setup, right? You've got slides. And then we've got commentary, and then we've got all the references that you're going to want to read so that you can understand cannabis as a medicine, just like we do, right? And this is what you need. It's as if I'm talking to you when you're in the room, when I'm not in the room, when you're just scrolling through this. And some of them have videos to start. Most of them do. All of these units have a quiz at the end, right? So listen to the video, go through the slides, and then click on all the links. I truly want you to explore each link to understand the basics of why this works as medicine, and how we have been lied to for over 100 years. Just about cannabis is a medicine, and it needs to be treated as one. All of the cannabis pharmacology. This is explained, you know, what does the body do to the drugs, the pharmacokinetics, how do we process it, and what do the drugs do to the body, the pharmacodynamics, where do these compounds go, what do they do when they're in the body, etc. So we teach you all of that, the basics of dosing and all the products, and then the fine print and the myths and the cautionary measures. You know, greening out is a thing, and people need to be protected. Module 2 starts with the therapeutic potentials and setting the stage for everything. So this is a wonderful lecture that I recorded where, you know, we break down, you know, how Paul Picard at the NIH said in 2003, when they filed the first US patent on cannabinoids as neuroprotectants and antioxidants, that this can change the paradigm of healthcare, because modulating the endocannabinoid system has therapeutic potential in all systems, in all healthcare. And we were just getting started, right? So because of federal prohibition, we still haven't explored enough, but we can get there. And then we go into the demographics of cannabis, from pediatrics to geriatrics, how to keep people safe. There's a big section on women's health as well as men's health. And it's really good stuff that you're going to want to have fun with. Module 2, epilepsy and autism and attention deficit, is all about pediatrics. And then MS, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's, all about older adults and what's going on in the brain, etc. Module 3 is mental health. We go into anxiety, PTSD, psychosis, depression, how to use cannabinoids for mental health. And that's a big module. We have a full overview of psychedelics as medicine. And this is all recorded and a preview of our psychedelics program. But we've put quite a bit into here for people to be able to understand the how and the why of psychedelics, and how they too were part of our health for a long time, especially in indigenous nations. Cardiovascular and metabolic, there's a lot going on that we can use from an inflammatory process. We know cannabinoids are anti-inflammatory. Learn how they can be protective to the heart and to reverse some of the metabolic issues that we're struggling with. Autoimmune is a big lecture series about how 10% of us are struggling with this. And a lot of it is the dysfunction of the endocannabinoid system. So please take a view of that. Managing chronic pain, of course, is very common. We want to be able to treat pain differently and more naturally, and getting people out of the opioid epidemic. So we have how to wean people off of opiates, migraines, and cannabinoids. And then cancer, one of my favorite units, a big module on cannabinoids for palliative, getting people to eat, sleep, relax, forget, protect a little bit better, to have a better day. And then anti-cancer, what are the potential curative measures, and what might we approach that? The Tippins protocol was a good thing. This is Joe Tippins, and he beat lung cancer and is still going using this protocol as well. So we've got holistic health and making sure that you can apply this to wellness and what that looks like. And that wraps up module 2. Module 3 is the scope and standards. This gives us the cost of care, the legalities. Is this a medication or a supplement? Well, it's both. And how do I shop for cannabis? How do I make my way through the dispensaries and understand? We give you how to read a dispensary menu. That's your homework on this assignment. And then how to shop at dispensaries and be safe and resourceful, right? Provider legalities and considerations. Where is cannabis legal? What kind of settings can we use cannabis? And what do providers need to know about people that are using cannabis as a medicine? And then what are the scope and standards of practice, right? How do we work with the medical board as well as the nursing boards? And what are the standards as to how we need to get this into healthcare? Advocacy and business opportunities. This is about getting cannabis into healthcare, and why we might want to make a difference. And then some of the organizations like NORML and Americans for Safe Access. We're members of all of them. I remain on the board of directors for NORML as the director of health for Los Angeles, and very active in that. So there's a lot here on advocacy and the business aspects. And then the regulatory environment. If you're to understand, the licensing system and cultivation and manufacturing and distribution and retail, etc., what do you need to know? And I forgot also in the business aspects for health coaches, this is a big segment as well, where we just really walk through how to start your clinic and some of the solutions that cannabis is going to need to be finessed into healthcare, and then all of the things that you're going to need to set up your own practice. Once you get through that, then we've got the learning objectives by unit, and then a program exam. So each unit has quizzes at the end of it, and then this program exam is at the end. There are 15 questions worth 18 points, and you need an 85%. Most people pass right away. and then you can click here and do your feedback, which will trigger your certificate. And then you just email us and you let us know when you get your when you're done, and then we'll send you the certificate by email. So finally, we have the Holistic Caring Cannabis Nurse Health Coach Toolkit. And this is what I was mentioning. You know, if you want to do a 90-minute appointment and you want things broken down in 10-minute segments, I've taught you how to do it. The disclosures, the liability waivers, this is what you can then just modify to make it your practice and have patients sign that so that everybody knows that this is educational in nature, not a real nursing practice. This is not existing quite that way yet. So we have to make sure that we're educating people properly. We have different intake forms that you can download and apply and use, and then patient teaching so that you can teach directly from this and when you're in your first appointment. There's a dosing overview of the different routes of administration, and you can write things on that sheet on what you might recommend to them. Then giving them a cannabis tracking log. So 1 to 10, where are we at on pain and focus and memory and anxiety and appetite and sleep, etc. And then you modify based on the results. Then you need your patient care plans, and we have fillable care plans that teach you exactly what you need to be presenting back to them, cannabis resources, and then a conditioned dosing guide. This is a formulary of how cannabis products in California are all in different categories, from tinctures to vapes to topicals to edibles. Everything's broken out with why you might want to use these products, how you would start initially, some of the interactions and safety protocols to think about, and then the notes on specific formulations and how they might work for patients. The Cannabis Primer is our ebook. You can read that at your leisure and get deeper on things as well. And then the Quick Start Guide to Starting Your Business is all about the nuts and bolts of beginning a business and how you might want to do that. And then finally, we have the community talk. This is the slides, and this is the script. So you can just memorize the script. You can practice this at home and then go out and give your community talk. There's a lot on the slides, but not all is on the slides. So I've given you the script so that you can do that. And then you have a flyer you can post in your community center. Just change the name and put it up on the wall and show up on Tuesday at 10 a.m. And then all that other stuff. So there's a lot of other resources in here. I'm not going to bore you with all of them, but everything starts with a good intake form, and we help you figure out what that is too. So we look forward to you joining us in these cannabis health coach programs, and we know that we are doing all we can to change the paradigm of healthcare, and we want you to join us. So let us know how we can help, and we'll see you soon. And welcome back. We're just got a few more minutes here, and this is my favorite subject. I am going to introduce Sherry Mack. She's our Chief Nursing Officer here at Holistic Caring and the Green Nurse, and I just lectured about all of the good programs that we have and all of the things that went into building the Cannabis Nurse Health Coach program and the toolkit and why you might want to do it. But now I wanted to bring Sherry in here and talk about, why we're really here, right? We're building this ecosystem to train nurses and give them meaningful new work and then to see patients. So why not talk to the Chief Nursing Officer who's really doing all of this?
Oh,
so Sherry, tell us about what you're doing here at Holistic Caring and the Green Nurse.
Well, I like to bottom line it. We're here to educate and empower patients and professionals to make better choices for better patient outcomes, right? We know that the key drivers of health live outside the conventional system and are modifiable by us as patients and providers. And so everything that we do or don't do in our lives affects the endocannabinoid system. And we teach how to nuance that appropriately. Mm-hmm. So with nurses, we provide the practical applications that nurses seek. I'm building out a Zoho Learn library, Green Nurse Care Plans, the Cliff Note versions of the patient teachings. We've cared for 6,000 patients over the course of the past 9 years between us. And so we have a library of care plans and protocols from all of that experience that we have.
You've got the know-how.
So it's the nursing care plans, teaching, educating, and providing you with tools with real world evidence of patients that we provided. So taking that research and then applying it to real world evidence of the patients that we've applied, and then nuancing those care plans. And we have care plans for patients that we've cared for years. And you can see over the course of time how their cannabinoid requirements have changed over time as they've changed and gotten healthier and have been able to nuance this most important system that people are going to be educated on more frequently. So patients, what we provide is that comprehensive one-on-one clinical coaching to quickly get you oriented on optimizing CBD and cannabis therapeutics as medicine, from pediatrics to geriatrics, oncology, autoimmune conditions, and mental health. You know, we apply the nursing process to be able to help you to reach your wellness goals. We're the hand holders, we guide, we direct, we're problem solvers, and we help you to nuance that in a very effective way and make it safe and fun for learning.
Yeah, and patients will recognize, you know, for the learner who doesn't know, what's the nursing process, right? We assess, plan, implement, evaluate, monitor.
And the part that's so fun about nursing diagnoses and the difference between nursing diagnoses and medical diagnoses is nursing diagnoses change over time as patients change. So when patients get a medical diagnosis, it pretty much kind of sits there, right? But nursing diagnoses can change over time as we change, and our nursing care plans change to reflect that.
And patients get better. And we are putting the clinical touch into cannabinoid therapeutics because not a lot of firms are doing this, right? You go to the dispensary, they're going to give you the products, but they don't give you the instruction manuals. They'll give you a little bit of support and go do this, but they're not really hand-holding you. And that's what we do.
That's what we do. So we work with patients and we work with providers, nurses, and we link it all together to create a pipeline of progress as we do our part to change the paradigm of healthcare in America.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
So we hope you join us. Join the Cannabis Nurse Health Coach Program. Call us on the nurse line, 970-404-HOPE or 4673. Email us at info@holisticcaring.com. Let us know what we can do to help you get started today, and you can be the hero to somebody else and change the paradigm of healthcare. So thank you and God bless.